It's Professor Gavoor. I want to talk a little bit about our linear cost profit, cost revenue profit functions. And if you go to week 5, here's the templates that I used in class to show how this, things I put together to help you. And if I download it and open it, it comes out in Excel. And if we make it bigger, we'll see there's 3 tabs here. Crazy Little Problem, Make, Buy, and Sheet 2, which is really make. And how does this work? The Crazy Uncle problem is the base problem. And if we make this bigger, oops, sorry, I'm making a mess of things. I'm trying to do this quickly. It's not the best thing. Okay, so here's the base case. The price is 12, the variable cost is 9, and the fixed cost is 14,000 a month. What are the cost, revenue, and profit equations for this model? What is the BEP quantity? And what is the quantity necessary to reap a profit of 5,000 per month? Well, first of all, I'm going to create a little text box. Insert. Where it says text box, I click on that. And I create a text box. Now I can just type whatever I want in there. In fact, this blue box here is a text box. So first of all, and I didn't label these things A, B, or C, so let's just call the first part A. What are the cost, revenue, and profit equations for this? Well, cost, C of Q, equals variable cost, which is 9, times Q, plus the fixed cost, which is 14,000. The revenue is, okay, I'm really messing up here. It is 9Q plus. I think I have my keyboard too close to the edge of the table is my issue here. My revenue equation, R of Q, tell you, once you start making errors, they just keep coming, is what? 12, which is the price times Q, is 12 times Q. Now, profit of Q is what? R of Q minus cost equation, C of Q, and that equals 12 Qs minus 9 Qs. 12 minus 9 is going to be 3Q plus, or in this case minus, 14,000, the fixed cost. That's part A. So you see, these 3 parameters become the constants in the equation. Part B. What is the break-even quantity? Well, the break-even quantity is going to be here. If I put the parameters into the yellow, the orange will be the answers. And my desired profit will come here. So what is my price that I sell this at? We're selling it for 12. what is my variable cost? We said 9. So it tells 12 minus 9 is the margin, which is 3. It showed up here. Very nice. If I put my fixed cost at 14,000, it will tell me how many of these units of whatever it is I have to sell. So it's 4,667, which means it's really 4,666.666. I'm dividing by 3, so I'm going to get a lot of those. What's my desired profit? Well, right now I have a desired profit here of nothing, so it's going to give me the break-even point. But if I want to make 5,000 a month, which is 60,000 a year, I have to sell 6,333. So if I want to do this right, I could say the break-even point quantity is, and I go over here and read it, break-even point, 4,667, 4,667. Then I'll know that you plucked the right number from the right place. I mean, it's pretty obvious. There's only 3 answers that come out. C, what happens here? It says, what is the quantity necessary? So the quantity necessary, maybe I'll just even copy paste it. The quantity, and I'll make it at a capital, necessary to make 5,000 a month is $6,333 units. If I want to put units of whatever it is I'm making. Units. Now, if I want, I can make this look pretty. If I click on the whole box and go to shape format, and let's say I want to make the shape a little bit orange there, and I want to put, some color to it. There is my answers. And let's say I wanted to, part D might be a question. We don't have it, but let's say the question is, what is my profit or loss if I sell 3,000 units? Well, the break-even point is 4,667 already. So if I sell 3,000, it's less than a break-even point. I'm going to lose money, but how would I do it? Well, I would take this profit equation, 3Q minus 14,000, and maybe I would create something like this. Here I've got my margin, which is 3. I've got my fixed cost, which is 14,000. So now if I say Q equals, I could create a formula that says, what is my cost? What is my revenue? What is my profit? And I could put equal signs for each one of those. Because I have all the parameters already stored here. I'm doing pretty good. So let's say I want to put 2,000. Well, what I'm looking for is my cost. What's my cost at 2,000 when Q is 2,000? I would say it's going to be equal to 2,000 times the variable cost plus the fixed cost. So it's going to be $32,000. What is my revenue at 2,000? My revenue at 2,000 is pretty simple. It's just 2,000 times the price, which is 12. And you see the revenue is less than the cost, so my profit is going to be negative. I can do the profit 2 ways. I can just take equals revenue minus cost, and it gives me parentheses 8,000, which means negative 8,000. Or I can say is equal to the quantity times the margin 3 minus the fixed cost, which gives me 8,000. So what if I was to sell 1,000? Well, I have a bigger loss. What if I was to sell 10,000? I would get a profit of 16,000, a up for a cost of 104 and a revenue of 120. What if I was to sell 8834? I could put any number in here, it doesn't matter, and it gives me my profit. So you could set that up. If you set this up and it's correct, I know you've done this correctly. So that's a base case crazy uncle problem. Now, the next case we look at is here, a make-buy problem. Now, we don't have any words around it, so maybe I have to create something. I want to say, consider the previous problem, and so what am I going to do? I'm going to insert some rows. Well, insert. I inserted some rows. What do I want to put in now? I want to put in a text box. There's a text box. Consider the previous problem. Suppose another company offers to make the product for us for $10, and I'm going to make it complicated so it doesn't always come up pretty. $10.25 per unit. So we were making them for $9 for variable cost, but we had 14,000 fixed costs a month. Now I can make them for $10.25 and incur no fixed cost. Remember, the revenue equation, and I might want to ask, what is the BEP quantity? And then we have the 5,000 question. Oh, the other thing we didn't do here, we should probably do it, is graph these. So where do I want to go? I want to go back here. I want to go to here, create a new window and type in desmos.com, which is Desmos, and I say open graphing calculator, and what do I have? My revenue and cost equations I want to draw. So I want to say 9Q plus 140,000, that's way too much, 14,000, and 12Q. So I say Y, and let me move this over a little bit so you can see it. Y equals 12x plus 14,000. Now you can't see it anymore because 14,000 is y-intercept, but it only goes up to 11. So if I zoom in, I have to zoom in a lot. There it is, there's my line. It's very steep, but there's my line. It crosses at 14,000, 14,000, it keeps going up. What's my revenue equation? Well, this is actually 9. It's not 12. And y equals 12x is my revenue equation. So let me zoom in a little bit more. And it says right there. So at 4667, it cost me $56,000 in cost and $56,000 in terms of revenue. So revenue minus cost, when they're both the same, is 0 profit. So I copy this. And being a Mac, it puts the copy down here. And if I move it and drag the picture that I just copied, I have a graph. So if I ask you for a graph, you could do that. That's a complete problem. I can answer anything. I didn't answer my D question. What do we say? What was the profit at if we sell 2,000 units? At 2,000 units, 2,000 units, we would incur a loss, a minus 8,000 in profit. We would lose money. Okay. So here we go here. What do we have here? I want to find what is the make buy, or what is the break-even point for this alternative. And we said, let's put letters, since we didn't put letters last time, A. And then if we go here, B. At a desired profit of, what do we say was our desired profit? 5,000 a month. Is it better to make or buy the units? Question mark. That's it, 2 questions. Fine. Well, it's a previous problem. If we make it, it is a previous problem. What's our variable cost and what's our fixed cost? 9 and 14. It's only we're going to compare only the cost equations here. So it's going to be variable cost is 9 and the fixed cost is $14,000. How much will this new company make it for? $10.25. 10.25. And it only says 10 because I probably have to go here and increase the decimal places. So it tells me my break-even quantity is 11,000. If I make less than 11,200, it's more economical to buy the products for $10.25. If I make more than 11,200, it's more economical for me to make this the product. So we already know here, if I want to make 5,000 a month, it's my desired profit. If I make it myself, I have to make 4,667 of these things, these units, to make 5,000 a month. So let me copy this again over here. Let me copy it and go over here and just paste it right there. Well, it gives me the same answers, but let me say this is inputs for buying. So what do I have? My price, I'm going to sell it for 12, but now it's going to cost me $10.25. And again, I have to increase the decimal place. My fixed cost is 14,000, and my desired profit is 5,000. Well, actually, I don't have fixed costs anymore because I'm buying it from someone else. So I make my fixed cost 0. So my break even, if I sell one, my break even quantity is 0 now. But now I can make 5,000 a month, a desired profit, by only having 2,857 versus 6,033. So given that the amount even here that I need to make, I need 4,667, I need 6,333 to make $5,000 a month. I go over here, I only need $2,800. It's better for me to buy the product. Again, any quantity less than 11,000 is more economical for me to buy them. And certainly 4,000 or 6,333 is less than 11,000. So even in this case, it's more economical. But I can achieve my $5,000 profit per month by only selling 2,857 of them versus selling 633. Now, the other thing that I did here was I copied this and put it right here. It maintained all the formulas in here. So I just changed the label a little bit. Now I could make another text box and answer all the questions here if I wanted to have it in full sentences. What is the BEP of this alternative? The BEP here is for volumes less than 11,200 a month, it is more advantageous to buy the product. For volumes greater than 11,200, it is more advantageous to make the product ourselves. The second part, at a desired profit of 5,000 a month, is it better to make or buy the units? Given for both alternatives, make and buy, the volumes needed to achieve a profit of 5,000 per month is less than the break-even quantity of 11,200. Therefore, I would buy the product. Furthermore, to buy the product, I only need to buy and sell 2,857 to make $5,000 versus if I was to make it myself, I would have to make and sell 6,333. Okay, last one is a make problem. Well, let's say we're going to have another, let's use the same problem. We'll say consider the previous problem, blah, blah, blah. And what would that be? So let's add some space here. Oops. Insert. All right, there we go. So we have our options, fixed costs, variable costs, all of this. So let me add a text box here. Insert. Text box. There's my text box. Consider the previous scenarios. That means previous two problems. A machine company offers us a new machine that will lower our variable cost to $3 per unit. Wow, we were paying $9 before in materials and labor. Now we can lower it to $3. That's incredible. The fixed cost, however, goes to $25,000 a month. So to buy all that speed and all that efficiency, probably uses less material and certainly a lot less labor. It's going to cost us, to buy this machine is more expensive. It's going to cost us $25,000 a month in loans or mortgage or whatever it is we have. This is option 1, option 2. Why don't I change that? Our current, what was our current option and what's our new or proposed option? let's go back to the crazy uncle problem. Variable cost 9, $14,000. So let's go to make 9. Oh, the fixed cost is first. Be careful. I don't always do them in the same order. $14,000. And the fixed cost of the new machine is going to be $25,000. And what is my variable cost? Originally was 9, and now it's going to be $3. So if I make less than 1,800 of these a month, it's more advantageous for me to make them myself. But if I make more than 1,800, it's more advantageous to buy them myself, or to buy the new machine. So with the current manufacturing, if I make less than $1,800 a month, it's more advantageous to keep the current machinery. But with the new machinery, if I make less than 1,800, it's more advantageous for me to use the new machinery. Okay, so that's how that works. But let's say I want to do this again. Let me copy this, copy, and let me put it right here. It'll preserve all the calculations, but instead of new, let's say I want this to be the new machine, and this to be what? The buy. So this is going to be 25,300. Just copy this and put it here. And of course it makes it, because it's exactly the same. But the new fixed cost, if I buy all this stuff, is going to be 0, and it's going to cost me, what do we say, $10.25. There's my $10.25. Now, it's more economical for me to buy the product. You know, is it more economical what? I have a slope of 3 and I have a slope of 10. It's more economical for me to make the product or to buy the product if I have less than 3,000 units, and more advantageous for the new one. Well, this is pretty interesting. So I can look at, there's a couple things we can do here. I really want to do an analysis to do this properly. I have all kinds of numbers floating around here. Maybe I need to summarize it on one table. I have make, and I have current, new, or I have buy. And let's merge those cells. Let's left justify all, or right justify all these. And then what do I have? Maybe I look at how would we look at this? What should we call this? Let's call it quantity. Let's just make it easy. We'll call it quantity. And what should we call all this stuff? What are we calculating? Let's just look at our profit. Let's merge those cells and call it profit. Okay. So what do I want my quantities to be? 0. And what do we want to do? We can add any numbers we want. We want to go up by hundreds. What were we looking at if we looked at this? desired profit quantity is 6,000. So let's go by 500s. Equals this plus 500. And what can we do? That takes us up to 4,000. Let's take it up to 8,000. Let's take it up to, I don't know. Here we go, $13,000. So what's my profit equation here? It's going to be equal to the quantity times what was the margin we had in the first problem? You got to kind of remember the numbers, but we had a margin of 3 minus a fixed cost of what? 14,000? Okay. If I copy it all the way down, we saw our break-even point was between 4,500 and 5,000, which we had. And if we want to make 5,000 a month, it was between 6 and 6,500. It was 6,333. So we're tracking pretty good. And what do we want to do? Let's bold these up. Let's bold this. And we're starting to have things. Let's justify that as well. And if we buy it, what was our buying? We were buying it for $10.25 and selling it for $12. So that's a margin of $1.75. So it's going to be equal to $1.75 because 10 1/4 plus 75 is 11 plus 1 is 12 times the quantity, 0. There's no fixed cost, remember? So we have that. If we sell nothing, we make. That's the nice thing about buying. If you don't, and it just keeps getting more. So you can see it really is profitable, more profitable to buy than our current making situation until we got to 11,000 something, right? Right around here, between 11,000 and 11,500. If we look at it, where was it? 11,200. So that tracks. Now, the new system, what is that? What was our $3? So our margin is going to be 12 minus 3. It's going to be $9. It's going to be equal to the quantity times 9 minus, but we're going to have a way bigger fixed cost of 25,000. We put that there. So if I don't sell any, I'm losing $25,000. But it becomes profitable very quickly because the variable cost, you know, the margin now is so high. So it is advantageous over between 2,500 and 3,000. What did we say? 2,500 and 3,000 is, well, it's 1,833. It's actually 1,833 is here. I was I'm losing less money at 2,000. So it's advantageous between 1,500 and 2,000, but it's actually showing a profit starting between 2,500 and 3,000. So the new machine would be better than the current machine, but it's still not as advantageous as the buy until we get to 3,400, which is between these two numbers. Once we get to 3,500 or higher, the new machine is the way to go. So if we want to make 5,000, the new machine, we have to sell, well, somewhat less than, well, we had that here. Where's our make buy? We actually did that. to make 5,000, we have to sell 2,857. 2,857. Doesn't seem like it's right. What do we have? 9,000. Did something wrong someplace. 12. It's a margin of 2. It's really a margin of 175. And our desired profit is what? It's F14. The fixed cost plus F15, which is 5,000. So it's to be 5,000 divided by F18, which is the margin. 2850. Now what did I do wrong here? I've got now I'm doing something wrong. It's not a profit margin of that, it's a profit of 175 is what it is. Oh, that's the buy. If I was to make it 12 and 3 and 25,000, so it doesn't matter. Once I have this, I can put all kinds of stuff in there. I've got to sell 3,333. So anything above 3,333 would be that. If I was to make this 1025 to buy, well, why don't I just do that too? I mean, I could solve the problem 3 times. I don't have to make a table, but I've made a table, so I have that to compare. But if I want to compare what do I have, what's better to make $5,000, well, why don't I just copy this 3 times? I'll bring this over here. And I'm just showing you how you can bring it. So let's put it here, here, and here. Oops. Copy, put it here. This is make inputs for make current, inputs for buying, inputs for make 2. Okay, make 1, we've already got it done. And what do we want to do? Make it bold. I want to make it maroon because I always stick with the same thing. I'm a creature of habit. Bold. Maroon. Make it bigger twice. And make this bold. Maroon, bigger twice. Okay, there we go. So I'm always selling at 12. That never changes. The first one, 9, 14,000 this. The second one, for buying, my variable cost is going to be $10.25. And I probably want to make the 25 cents show, so let me do this. But I don't have any variable cost. So all of a sudden, comparing this cost me 6,000. I have to make 6,000, sell 6,333. Here I only have to sell 2,857. And here, when my variable cost goes way low, but my fixed cost goes higher, is 3,333. So if I'm only going to want to make 5,000 a month, I would buy it. that costs me the least. It only takes me 2,800. But let's say I'm going to really make 5,000. Let's say I want to make 10,000 a month. I just change a number. That's the nice thing about Excel. Versus doing it on your calculator or doing it by hand, you just change the numbers and you get better answers. Well, this is going to cost me 8,000. This is going to cost me 57. I have to make and sell or buy and sell 5,700. Here I only have to sell less than 4,000 to make 10,000 a month. So this make two has a lot of benefit pretty quickly. The current system is really not good at all. And buying is better to a certain point, but this make two is much better. So I can put it all together and answer all kinds of questions. I can create a table. I can copy my template from the first and answer questions about at what desired profit level is it better. I could have made this I could have put a quantity in here and just given me the profit at the quantity. I can do that as well. But I didn't program it that way. I didn't write it that way. I can set this up any way I want. So now if I look at my quantities, I can look at this. Well, how much do I want to make a month? If I want to make 10,000 a month, what's my profit going to be? It's going to be $16,000, $65,000 with the new machine and $17,000 with the old machine. Look how much money I can make with the new machine because the variable cost is so low and it makes my margin so big. We overcome that fixed cost very quickly. With the current machine, with a margin of 3 and a monthly nut to cover of 14,000, we have to sell almost 5,000 to start breaking even, above 4,500 to start breaking even. With the new machine, we're making money by the time we reach 3,000 units a month. Of course, we're always making money. We're always making a profit when we buy because there's no fixed cost to overcome. So whatever small volumes we're making. So I would think the strategy for this company is to buy the product, but have in mind as soon as their volumes reach 2,000-3,000 to buy the new machine and work it. Because if you can continue to grow, this is the advantageous way. So I showed you how to put together lots of things using this. Now, if you wanted to, you could keep this template and just keep adding like problem 1 and copy the problem here. Let's show you how I would do that. So let's go back to linear cost revenue problems. Let's go back again to this, our homework. And what do we have? Linear cost revenue. Let me open Excel. I'll download this and open it. Okay, why is it not opening? There we go. Maybe not. I don't know. Cancel. I never really opened that file. Here we go. There we go. Here's our problem. So if I want to just copy this, bring it over here, paste it, puts it right at the top, I could call this problem 1. And as we said, that's a crazy uncle problem. Well, why don't I just like copy this, put it over here, and I can put these numbers in here. So this is problem what? What did we say it was? Problem 1. So I still have this base case. And if I want to make it, I can just zero that out. And I've got something to work with. So now I can put my numbers in. And I can size this column so it fits. So what's my price? I'll let you do it. Here it is. They sell it for $50. The annual cost incurred in the production is $200,000, and $10 in labor, materials, labor, and energy. Boom. You can solve that. You can make your Desmos graph. You can find the break-even point. Well, gee whiz, it seems it's going to print out here once we put the right numbers in. And if you want to make $100,000 in profit, put $100,000 there, and it will tell you the quantity you need to make $100,000 annual. What's the second problem? Oops, let's go here. Let me put this where I can see it more easily. Okay. Put that there. The second problem, I can just copy it. Again, copy, paste. There we go. Consider the previous problem, blah, 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 blah. Which kind is it? Make buy. I know make buy. Here's make buy. Let me copy my make buy. And I can even copy this. Inputs for buy. And then I can like see which one is more economical. I can copy this whole thing. Copy. Paste. But what I have to do is I'm going to zero these things out. Because I'm going to put new numbers in. And I can answer all the questions, etc. And I can click here and solve this problem too. What's easier? All right, there you go. Here's a way of doing that. And if you want to make it bigger so you can actually see it. You can make it bigger. And if I want to make it, I put my cursor on the right-hand side of the column here in the C column, and I double click and it makes it wide as to cover the widest term. Inputs for buy being the widest here. Variable cost or BEP quantity being the most here. So if I put numbers in here, I put the numbers from the problem 1, which are up here, which would have been here. I could just copy them over. Problem 2, I could put it here. And if I have a make, I can do it this way. I can compare the new versus the buy. Or I can compare the 3 side by side with the desired profit level, as we talked about. It's all answering the same kind of questions. And it gives you a feel for how to do this. And you don't have to solve it by pencil and paper every time. And you don't have to use your calculator and then type the number into Excel. Let Excel do the heavy calculations for you. Or the repetitive calculations. None of these are really heavy. Again, just the way you create a new tab is click on the plus sign. There's sheet 3. I want to move it over here and I want to call it problem 3, etc. Keep going. So that's how this works. I will save this file and put it in an announcement so you can look at it and see what I did. If you want to see how I structured it, I will also post this video in the same announcement. I hope you have a nice weekend and don't spend all your time working on this and enjoy some of the nice fall weather. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon.